Yeah. Om Om Sumindriyana Aushadaya Santu Durmindriya Tasme Santu Yo Asman Dveshti Yam Chavayam Dvishmaha Om Shanti Shanti. Okay. Now people can mute out, except Srividya. So what was the issue you had?
I did not understand the application of that if P then Q and if not P then not Q in terms of Viveka and Viveka.
Right. So see when what was that? Wait. This was 15th one, no? Atrapi
Yeah.
Vidyati Niyamo
Atra-
Ante Vyatirekat. So just as let me see my commentary also. Let me not. As such, he is saying for the Andhakar and Prakash.
Correct. That for that it is easier to relate to in the sense that okay, the previous verse had said that the only way you can take away darkness is by light.
Yeah.
And that the only way Avivik we can go is by Viveka.
Yeah.
Right. So this
the
verse.
Same relationship is showing between Viveka and Aviveka. Okay, which is actually in a way not very okay. It's all right also, but Aviveka is the absence of
Uttaraji,
Viveka.
please kindly mute everyone because a lot of crosstalk coming through.
Okay. Okay. So just as light in a way is the opposite of darkness, similarly Vivek is the opposite of Avivek. So this Anvay Vyatirek in this case is a little bit facile, it is little stupid. So but anyway, you can say wherever when there is Vivek, then there is the absence of aviveka. Right, that's what I've. Oh, because I haven't given the no, I have okay, light and darkness. So wherever there's light, when there's light there's no darkness, and where there's darkness there is no light. So similarly, where there is aviveka, there is no aviveka. Where there is no viveka, there is uh, aviveka. So you have to understand it that way. Clear, Srividya?
I know the karma is there, and then the good Radha, Kesha, and all those things.
Srividya? Srividya?
Yeah.
Is that clear to you?
Yeah, but I didn't understand what was this confusion between the Purva Pakshi and Siddhanta Pakshi as well in this.
So Purva Pakshi and Siddhanta Pakshi is coming from the beginning, right? From verse number.
Yeah, but
Sutra
this
number.
particular, why did he? Because in the previous line we said that in the previous verse we already said that the only way to take out a Vivek is by Vivek. That is just the only way to. So then why does this verse again talk about So what is the?
Firstly, the verse number 14 is from the Siddhanta Pakshi.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
verse
Yeah.
number 15 now is from the Purva Pakshi. Okay.
Okay.
So, and in verse number 12, he
Hmm.
had said that his second objection to this anadiha viveko anyatha dosha dvaya prasakte. So, the second dosha was that if
Vivek cannot be together, right? That was the one.
yeah, so since that has been brought in by this light and darkness by the Siddhanta Pakshi, so he says that same thing I also said to you earlier, that Viveka and Aviveka cannot coexist. So therefore, Viveka has to be Anadi.
Okay. Okay.
So he goes back to his second objection and says that that is why it is Anadi. In fact, as I told you, that we are saying dosha 1 is this and dosha 2 is this based on further sutras because it is not specified. So this is telling us what is the one of the doshas.
Okay.
Okay.
So like
Yeah.
one question, corollary question that comes is, I can very much accept that the concept of Viveka is Anadi. Both Viveka and Aviveka are Anadi.
Oh, did I say Viveka is Anadi? Aviveka.
No,
is
I'm
Anadi.
asking.
So the Purva Pakshi is focusing on Aviveka. So he says Avivek is has to be Anadi. So he is not talking about Viveka.
Okay.
Where exactly is
Vivek,
your confusion? It's not clear to me. Just 1 minute, Mr. Chandan. I'll just make sure Anuj is clear.
Vivek and Avivek are relative to an individual. It is not absolute. So when I am in a state of Avivek, you are in a state of Viveka. So the question of one not existing permanently is not there. For example, God is eternal for all of us. But Viveka and Aviveka are not eternal or not Anadi, and because it is relative to the individual.
Correct. Correct. So going back to Anuj, is your question resolved or do you still have some?
No, I think I have come to some rough understanding. Well, like same confusion is for me. Finally, see, I don't. Finally, I am okay with some Purva Paksha, but I want to know what is the Siddhanta very clearly. That's all. Is Siddhanta of Kapila also that Viveka is Anadi?
No. He is refuting it. That is why we are calling it a Purva Paksha, because it does not match with Kapila's understanding.
Okay, so that means Viveka also comes into birth and goes away, and similarly Aviveka in a complementary fashion. Okay.
Yes, correct.
But I also feel that there is too much what you call absoluteness attached to Viveka. I see a lot of what you call great shades of them. Like there is shades of darkness and shades of brightness, like that in real life also.
So till the time that you are having shades, till the time that you are not white, till then you are considered Avivek only. So
Okay,
even if
it is
you have
100% or
yeah,
not good.
Vivek
Okay.
is completely Shuddha Vivek. Everything else is Avivek. Okay. So,
And the other fact, what Subramanian sir was trying to say, was probably the so-called Vyashti Samashti concept that is also dealt with in Vedanta. One is in the individual it is Vyashti, and in the whole it is Samashti, like that.
so I don't want to get too much into Vedanta and create confusion. So we will leave it at this. If you are understanding in some fashion, it's okay with me.
No, the the question is, if I am an aviveki, you are a viveki. So the aviveki and aviveka and viveka both coexist, but in two different individuals.
Correct.
So they are not to be considered as eternal like God. They
Correct.
are not God.
Correct. Exactly. That's exactly right. Okay. Any other questions are there? So now we'll do the recap. Let me just close the door. I have left the door open. 1 minute, please. So to do the recap from verse number 12, that is Anadir Aviveko Anyatha Dosha Dvaya Prasakte. Who wants to take it up?
Well, I'll just open it up, easy one. So basically, this is the Purva Pakshi statement arguing that, or in the Kapila quoting a Purva Pakshi viewpoint, saying that probably Viveka is Anadi because of two possible faults which will come up if we don't think it is Anadi. Like that's what he's saying.
Yes.
And the two faults, one is related to karma and janma life loop, and another I'm not able to recall. There are two arguments he puts forth. Yeah.
Okay. Somebody else wants to come in?
Can I try?
Please. Yeah. Sure, Kalam.
Yeah, this is the Purva Pakshi states that, yeah, I'm also just swimming through it. So, okay, the Purva Pakshi states that Aviveka must be without a beginning, because if it had a beginning, from where did it arise? Is it from karma? But birth is caused by aviveka, that is the level where you get born in is based on your aviveka in the previous birth. And aviveka is caused by karma. So it's a kind of a chicken and egg situation which you mentioned. You gave us that example. So he says it must have no beginning. That is one argument. And the second one is, he says that aviveka and viveka are contradictory and only one can exist. So where if there is aviveka, then viveka cannot be there. And if it had a beginning, if aviveka had a beginning, then where was the viveka then, and how did it become aviveka?
Correct. Correct.
So therefore, he proves, according to him, aviveka is eternal and has no beginning.
Yeah, exactly. So this is proved by elimination. So you are saying if it was not Anadi, if it was Sadi, Sa-Adi, Sadi, then you would have two problems which will face you. So it has to, we must conclude that it is without a beginning. Okay. But he still believes in moksha. So the Siddhanti is able to catch him in the next verse. So na nityah syad atmavad anyatha anuchitti. Who wants to take this up?
Shall I?
Sure. Go ahead.
Because
Go ahead.
these two I understood, so I don't want to venture further.
Sure. Good.
Okay. Now the Siddhanti says that no, it cannot be eternal because it can be destroyed. Only by destroying your aviveka you are attaining mukti.
Right.
So if there is no beginning, then it cannot be created, and something which cannot be created will get exhausted soon.
Yes.
Whereas Aviveka is not getting exhausted. And he also, I love that example of the river which you gave, the Pravaha Nitya, that, and also I think something of what Mr. Chandran says. He explains the quantum of Aviveka in the universe, not just in a person. And it can never be destroyed. There is Aviveka always. Is that right? It cannot be destroyed.
Which one cannot be destroyed? Aviveka or Viveka?
Aviveka. No, the quantum of Aviveka in the universe, there is always Aviveka existing somewhere. Like you said, the example of the river is flowing eternally. But every droplet in the river could be changing.
I do not agree with that view. However, the commentators have taken that view, so you can take, you're at liberty to accept that view. So maybe at the universe level, we can definitely say that all the souls will never achieve Viveka altogether. Okay, because we know that those who are attaining moksha also are returning back to this creation. It may be after a very long time. However, they are returning after some time. So that cycle will keep going on, and yes, always there will be aviveka in this universe. In fact, much more aviveka than viveka.
Okay.
Okay. So then the 14th one, Atiniyata Karana Nashyatvam Asya Dvantavat.
Right, Uttara?
Yes, please.
Okay. It is basically right now, earlier also you have said that aviveka can be destroyed only by the viveka. Just like darkness can be removed through the light, and other things are there by which can be destroyed in a different ways. But avidya has to be can be destroyed only through the vidya.
Correct.
For that, the moment a person gets the viveka, the discriminatory power, what is real and what is unreal, and then he will be, the moment he knows what is real, the body is separate from the atma or the soul.
Yeah.
Then and he is able to do the sakshatkar with that. That means he got the viveka. Correct. And earlier also in the first chapter 121, the shloka number 21, where you have also said that thing, that the difference between drishta and drishya, the difference who is the drishta is and what is the drishya is.
Right.
Once I know that, that means I am getting the viveka. Yeah. Or the moment I know that what is the difference between my body and the jivatma, the difference between the two, the moment I know the jivatma is the one which is permanent and the body is not. So this is the way we can understand that the true meaning of viveka. And for that we have to go certain the Patanjali's yoga, through that we can get the glimpse of the viveka and our soul.
Right, right. Okay, is that clear to everybody? Yeah. So we'll move on to the next one. Atrapi pratiniyamo anvaya vyatirekat. Largely, I explained quite a bit. However, yeah, somebody can take it. Yeah, Prashanti, go ahead.
Yeah, so like you already explained it very well, the viveka and aviveka cannot coexist. Where once you have viveka, aviveka is no more. Or when you have aviveka, viveka cannot exist. So it is just like if there is light, darkness is removed. If darkness is removed means there is light. So that is what here. So again, little bit I am bringing back the same philosophy, same point that you are saying is what Kapila saying to Purva Pakshi. Saying if there is if Viveka Khyati happened means Aviveka has been removed. So Aviveka cannot be permanent, neither can be Viveka, is what here he is trying to say.
No, this is the Purva Pakshi statement. So Purva Pakshi, because the previous one was the Siddhanta Pakshi statement.
Probably in the following one is where Kapila says, because of this only, I say, I think the prakarantara sambhava, the Viveka.
Correct.
Because of the Bandha Viveka. Yeah. Yes. So following that is probably I mixed both together. Yeah.
So this one is essentially the Purva Pakshi statement where he is saying that what you have said, Dhwantavat, just like light removes darkness. Similarly, I also gave you that dosha, which comes in if we consider this aviveka to be with a beginning. Yes. So therefore, what I said is correct. You are basically corroborating that. Okay. So then Kapila tries to give him the correct situation, which is in the next sutra. Prakarantara sambhavada viveka eva bandhaha. So here you have to, who's taking this one up?
Can I take it up? Can I take it up?
Please, Mala, take it up.
Yeah. The origin of, since the origin of aviveka cannot be explained, it is understood that it is a bondage. And because they are kind of joined together at a very basic level, it cannot be separated. And so it is kind of, it is interconnected. Aviveka leads to bondage and bondage leads to aviveka. So since they cannot be separated, the level of aviveka determines the next birth bondage, because and the birth itself will determine the level of aviveka that you carry in your next birth through this life.
Okay. Okay, you kind of brought in the
30th
sutra.
It is kind of the bondage. Aviveka is a bondage, is what it implies.
Yeah, but little bit you are off.
Oh.
So.
Okay.
What you are not you are seeing it as cause and effect again.
Yes.
And that cause and effect is what Kapila is trying to negate, because if cause leads to effect and effect leads to cause, then that dosh is there. Okay, Anyo Shraya dosh. You will have an infinite looping where cause leads to effect, that effect will lead to more cause, that cause will lead to more effect, will lead to more cause. So then we will never get out of this and we will have infinite build-up of both cause and effect. Okay, so this is called Anyo Shraya dosha. So here Kapila is trying to exit out of that and say that they are the same. That is why there is no dosha. When we say that Janm is because of Aviveka and Janm is Bandha, so since they are the same thing, there is no contradiction over there. If you consider any other way by which Aviveka is generated, you will run into the dosha which you have, which the Purva Pakshi said. So what you have said is the same as verse number 612, where the Purva Pakshi said that because of karma, we take janma.
Like, how does it carry over to the next karma? How does it go to the next karma then? It goes to the next karma.
It does. It does, and it goes into the next janma as well. That it does. So that is why, but they are both the same. So the whole janma period and this aviveka is connected. It's not.
Yes.
They are two sides of the same coin. So you cannot say this side of the coin is leading to the other side of the coin, and the other side of the coin is leading to the first side of the coin. Okay, that is the difference between the two.
Okay. Okay.
So we shall discuss more about this. So hopefully by the end of that discussion, it will become clear to you.
Yeah, sure.
Just want to make one point, Uttaraji, and maybe I'm confused.
Go ahead. Today is a very difficult day. I don't know. There's a lot of. Just excuse me, I mean, I should close the window. There are mosquitoes also. Yes.
I think like your commentary said, I think Aviveka, as we have been reading and everything, it cannot be Samishti. It is related to an individual soul.
Yes.
Right. So then it is destroyed and it comes into picture when the bond with the matter happens.
Yeah.
That's as simple as that. So we cannot say there is a pravaha, like I think it's from your commentary only. You cannot say it is pravaha or it is samishti. It cannot be samishti. My avidya is my avidya. God is eternal. God is everywhere. But avidya and avidya does not exist everywhere. If you are a viveki, you are a viveki, right? So it shouldn't it be looked at only at an individual level than at the samishti level? Because I cannot give my aviveka to you, or you cannot give your viveka to me.
Yes.
It cannot be, it's not transferred.
Correct. So, and there is no relationship between the two. Just because I have gained viveka doesn't mean that some corresponding amount of aviveka has got generated elsewhere.
Exactly.
So
that's my.
It is independent viveka and aviveka. So to presume that the quantity remains the same is not correct. There is no reason why we should feel that the quantity should remain the same in the universe. So that part is definitely off. However, you can in one way say that aviveka will not be removed from the universe completely ever. There will never be a situation where you will not have a substantial number of souls which are in bondage.
Yeah, that is understood. That some soul, or of course, not every soul will attain moksha. Probably even by the time of the great deluge. Also, that's what we believe in.
Yeah.
I understand that, but again, it is individual. It is not collective.
Exactly.
Right.
So that is what Mr. Chandan was also saying. That is the correct situation, because once we are trying to understand very deeply what it is, then we should not be happy with approximations. So the whole idea is that
exactly
we are trying to understand exactly what the situation is. So in that case, the situation is like this, that everyone's viveka and aviveka is separate. There is no samashti viveka or aviveka. We have to look upon it as a single item, singly, related to each soul separately. So did anybody else come out with any other thinking on this particular sutra, prakarantara sambhava adaviveka eva banthaha?
I wanted to ask you.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Anuj.
Yeah, so just some time back while Prashanti ji was explaining, she said something about Viveka and or Aviveka being not transferable from one to the other. I disagree. the only way to moksha is a viveka prapti through teachings, right? That is very clear. So it is transferable. Viveka is very much gainable and transferable, and that's how we actually
gainable. Knowledge is transferable, not viveka. Viveka is your
through
own
knowledge.
experience.
Knowledge is the conduit. Knowledge is the conduit for viveka.
Yeah. So here I'm talking about the.
So what do you mean by transferable? It's not magically, of course, through knowledge conduit. Yes.
No. That knowledge has to be experienced by you. That's when you get the viveka. No amount of the knowledge transferred to you will make you a viveki unless and until you experience.
See, you are talking, but still knowledge transfer is a nimitta karana. It may not be upadana karana. Like you said, you're right. We have to gain that knowledge, internalize the knowledge. But there is a nimitta of God himself in showing us the path through the Guru Vakya, I think.
Yeah. Absolutely. That is not contradicted at all. Here, what I'm trying to say is, in case if Uttaraji has Viveka Khyati, that doesn't mean that I would also have Viveka Khyati. It has to be my own experience. She cannot give me Viveka Khyati. She can only guide me to that.
So that is actually the situation, Anuj. The little bit of difference between your thing and hers is that there is a huge chasm between gaining knowledge and achieving Viveka. And that is what is to be covered by yoga, what we studied in Yoga Darshanam, and what Kapil has also been saying every now and then, and he will be telling us also later. You can gain all the knowledge you want. The whole knowledge of the universe you can gain. Yet you may not see yourself, yet you may not see God. That is what was meant by Kim Richa Karishyati. Tatna Veda, Kim Richa Karishyati. What will he do with the verses of the Vedas, which implies that he has understood all the knowledge of the Vedas? What will anybody do with that if he has not seen himself and the Lord? So that is the whole idea, that that last step which is there is the biggest step. It is not a trivial step which is there. That is why we say so many times that Nayam Atma Pravachanena Lapyo. This Atma is not available by just Pravachan, nor by just living, by hearing. Naiva Shrutena. Shruta, you can keep listening to the Guru and you will never reach your goal.
See, this is why we distinguish the nimitta and upadana, right? In Nyaya. So just like a catalyst doesn't actually participate chemically in a reaction, but aids, spark the reaction, the Shruti Guru Vakya also does the same. It's a nimitta karana.
Yes, but it is a very small nimitta karana. It is like the stick on the potter's wheel. So it is, if you say that the pot could not be formed without that stick, then you are giving too much importance to that stick. So that is where we are drawing the comparison, when we are not excluding the fact that jnana is required and somebody or something has to give us that jnana. But the fact remains that that final meditation has to be ours. And in fact, that it has to be meditation. Even just performing karmas based on your understanding of things will not take you that far. You have to actually stop karmas, stop your mind, and then only you can see the truth. So that is where...
For me, it's like this, Anujip. You can contradict me. If you Uttaraji is giving us the Google Maps to go to Mysore. So she cannot drive us. She is driving in a different car. We are driving in a different car. Making his reach to Mysore is our journey.
Correct. That's a good example. Okay. So tell me anything else which you could think of on this particular sutra?
The thing about bandha is, what we know is, of course, recently been also following my lessons in MA about Advaita Vedanta, etc. The bandha is basically, one consideration is that Atma actually is always awake, but it is having an avarana, which is the aviveka. So the all that we are doing is actually polishing off this avarana, or the wrappings, the false wrappings of the moha with the world, etc. And once we do that, then actually it shines forth, and that is the mukshatva.
Yeah, correct. So I would actually like to really correlate this with the calf with the noose around its neck.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, let me take that up in a couple of sutras later. Here I would like to, as part of this sutra, prakarantara asambhavat vivekah eva bandhah. Okay, so we have less than a minute left. Before I start, let me restart.
I think we should disconnect and restart.
Yeah, we'll disconnect and start the new session.
Okay.